With so many artists passing away recently, Post Malone's health has become a concern. So what exactly is going on with Post Malone? Make sure you watch the entire video as we cover the weird things going on behind the scenes with Post Malone. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Do you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video. So what started this outcry of worry? In this day and age we live in, you know that it must take something pretty big for fans to get worried. Granted, certain fans went through a tragedy recently when a beloved star was lost in a helicopter crash, but that was something else entirely. We knew what happened there, but in the case of Post Malone, not so much. The guy has always been acting out of mind, you know, but this time it feels different. Let's rewind a bit, shall we? Post Malone was doing a concert when some fans noticed some things that were not typical for even him. For example, he was slurring his words as he sang, which is never a good sign. They could tell that his eyes were rolling into the back of his head at points, really not a good sign, and as if that wasn't enough, he would fall onto the floor in a way that wasn't tripping or running into something or such like that. One event might be explainable, but all three? That's a harder sell, and fans knew it. You can't sit there and tell me that this is normal behavior from Post. It's not, and the man needs help before something bad happens to him. One fan said in a tweet that was removed, whether it's alcohol or drugs, he's not using them for fun anymore. He's abusing them. It's too much now, people are worried. Here's another fan's response to what happened, and it's noting what they felt was the reason for the incident. Guys, please. Post Malone has been acting weird on stage since a few weeks. One person tweeted on Friday, "I'm not trying to assume anything, but he looks like he's under drugs, so please spread this video. We lost too many artists over overdose. I hope he's gonna be okay." Like I said before, it takes a lot to get fans worried, especially given the life and times of Post Malone. But it's clear they were worried, and they had every right to be. For like that one fan said, there have been a lot of passings in the rap world in the last few years, and many of them have been because of substance abuse and the like. It's not a good look for the industry, and the fans are no doubt fearful that any of their favorite stars could be next. So when they see suspicious behavior like with Post Malone, they're going to respond to it. So thus the question became, was Post Malone on something? The response:
I'm not on drugs and I feel the best I've ever felt in my whole life.
When it comes to accusations, especially ones that have career-defining implications, you always have to wonder how the person will respond to them, or even if they will respond to them at all. After all, if they say one thing and then get caught in the lie, they look even worse than they did before, and I'm sure we all know celebrities like that, and that's a no-go. Then again, if they don't talk about it at all and ignore, it could pass over, or it could intensify the scrutiny of the person and lead to all sorts of problems. Which one did Post Malone do? Well, at a concert, he spoke to the fans directly about the accusations. "I'm not on drugs, and I feel the best I've ever felt in my life," Malone said reassuringly on a video captured by fans. "And that's why I can bust my for these shows and fall on the floor and do all that fun," Malone added on Friday. "But for anyone that's concerned here, I appreciate the love and support, but I feel fantastic and I'm not doing drugs." Far be it from us to be cynical, but it's not really clear if we can be believed in regards to how he's handling this. After all, the evidence from the fans shows that something was wrong with him, and he literally brushed over the fact that he fell on the floor and all that. So that's not really a good sign. Plus, addicts and people on various substances do feel great when on them. That's why they keep taking them, and they don't want to give up that high or feeling. And that's what makes this kind of addiction so scary, because it can come out of nowhere, get a hold of you, and then you don't want to let go. Just as scary, Post Malone himself noted that this happens when he was talking about the loss of Lil Peep. According to Variety, he said, "I remember when Peep died and there was a bunch of shaming, like on social media, like, oh, these kids are doing all their drugs." At the same time, you don't know what someone is going through, and you don't know how easy it is just to get caught up in something to the point where you can't stop. It's not your fault. And while that's kind of true, it's also kind of not. Yeah, it's true, it's easy to get lost in the substances, but it honestly is your fault for trying them out at all when you know that there are risks to them. That's why there are so many passings through these things. The guys and gals using them think that they can handle them and that the side effects or the risks won't affect them, but they do. So being honest here, can we believe what Post Malone is saying? Can we truly believe that he's okay? It's hard to say. His upbringing.
Post Malone was just a teenager from Grapevine named Austin with big dreams. We went to his childhood home where his dad still lives.
When it comes to Post Malone, he's definitely one of the more unique talents here in the rap world. He has a style that is truly all his own, and his look screams of a guy who isn't afraid to be what he feels like being, which is part of the problem at times, to be honest. But how well do you think you know him in regards to his childhood? Because it'll honestly surprise you. He was born and raised in Syracuse, New York by his father and stepmother. His dad at the time was a disc jockey, and it was through this that Post Malone got his first foray into music, and not just rap, but all kinds of music. His father taught him all sorts of styles, and that stuck with him. What might surprise you though, is what happened to him when he was 9. No, nothing bad, it's just that his dad was hired to be a head of concessions for the Dallas Cowboys. That may not sound like a big deal, but when you work for the Dallas Cowboys, yeah, it's a big deal. And remember, he was the head of it, which means that he was very well off. It was during this time that Post Malone went and started to learn how to play guitar, inspired by Guitar Hero, obviously, and tried out for many bands, including a heavy metal one. In fact, he did many different genres of music before making his first rap hit in White Iverson, which got him attention from both heavy hitters in the rap industry and many music labels. Now, Post Malone is one of the most unique rappers presently, and his songs always get a lot of hits, and his visuals in his music videos are usually either really colorful or really impactful. The reason we bring up his childhood and such is that it's through here that we can usually tell what he's going through in terms of the things he does or the things he uses. And yet when it comes right down to it, he had a great childhood. He wasn't poor, his family was well off, and things were so good that he was able to get things like Guitar Hero, which was expensive when it came out, and thus allowed him to learn guitar and start his career with the support of his family. And yet when you look at what he was like, both visually and sound-wise when he started his career, and how he is now, you have to wonder whether there is something we're missing in terms of his childhood and such that would drive him to do the things he does. Why is it that he has covered his body in tattoos from head to toe, and especially all over his face? What's the point of this outside of expression? Is this something really simple, or is this something more complex that we're just not seeing? This is a question that many fans are asking, and that's why it's so haunting that it's happening like this. A trigger?
Right as soon as we took off, we heard just a big ass pop. And we were just like, what the hell is that?
There are many things that can lead to a person getting a desire to try various substances. You can protect yourself and build up your walls all you want, but if one of these triggers is found, you're in trouble. And so perhaps this is a result of a trigger of some kind, though that raises another question. What kind of triggers could make Post Malone do something like this? To that, we need to look to his past, where some bad things have happened to him in recent years that could have scarred him in a way to make him act out like the way he is right now. 2018 was a very weird year for Post Malone, for example. On one hand, his music was off the charts, including landing a Spotify record for most streams when his second album, Beer Pongs and Bentleys, came out. But in that same year, he was involved in 2 vehicular incidents that definitely affected him, and that could be what is triggering him now. In one case, he was on a plane in New Jersey and was supposed to be heading to London, but shortly after takeoff, the plane blew out a couple of tires, which is not good for a plane like this. The pilots noticed though, and then performed a circular maneuver over an airport to burn fuel in order to land safely, which they did. While Post Malone was fine physically, as everyone else on the plane, mentally, it took a toll. For when he posted what was going on, a lot of supporters prayed for Post Malone to be okay, but a lot of other people weren't so kind. Thank you for your prayers, he said on Twitter. Can't believe how many people wish death on me on this website. If it was one person wishing harm on Malone, you could understand. There are always haters, but this was clearly a group of people, and that must have felt like a cold shoulder moment. After all, many celebrities go onto their social media platforms for support and praise, and do occasionally deal with trolls. But usually when a true hard time occurs, the trolls know when to stop, and yet they didn't. They went further than they should have, and that clearly affected them in a way that we honestly can't know fully about. Not 2 weeks after, Malone was a passenger in a car that got into an accident with another car. Again, no one was hurt, but Malone started to see a pattern going on, even saying that God must hate me. Now that might seem like a jerk reaction to being in a car accident, but again, this was not too long after the plane accident. And there are whole scores of people across the world who never have that happen to them once, let alone twice in 2 weeks. So while God doesn't hate him, that is some terribly bad luck, and that can mess with people too. But that still wasn't all. Soon after that incident, his former house was broken into, and the robbers were asking where he was, not knowing that he had long since moved from the residence. All of this has led to conspiracy theories that an interaction during an episode of Ghost Adventures that Post Malone touched a cursed box, hence his bad luck. Either way, he had a rough year, and he would be forgiven for just wanting to take some time away from it all to be purified for a while and ensure that he's in the right state of mind before entering the world. The score of events would lead any person marked, even someone like Post Malone, and have you wonder if on some level he got some form of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. This very real and very powerful condition can make a person feel like they're in danger all the time and can hit at the smallest of triggers. So perhaps Post Malone was dealing with some of that, and something in the last few weeks or so left him in a place where he felt the need to go and do certain things in order to get better. Sure, it's only a guess, but it would line up with certain things, wouldn't it? Could the pressure be getting to him?
I want to take this genre, and stretch it so far that people who may not listen to it, listen to it.
There's a lot of hidden dangers when it comes to the world of music, sports, acting, and etc. And one of the biggest ones is that you are under constant pressure to perform at your peak. In the music world especially, your next album can be what sends you to superstardom or spirals you right out of business. A great example is Will Smith. His first album went double platinum and everyone thought he would be the next music star. But then his next album bombed, and if it wasn't for luck and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he would have been a one-hit wonder. MC Hammer is another great example of fame and pressure getting to you in a way that ruins your life. How does that affect Post Malone? Simple. He's had a lot of people talk about him, and not all of it has been good. Many people have noted that Post Malone just isn't a good singer, and yet his albums sell like crazy. In fact, his 2016 album Stompy, which released in December of that year, was actually the number 10 album of 2018. How does that make sense? Simple. Listeners like the flow of Post Malone. Critics, not so much, but they're not the ones paying the checks. For Malone, he feels that he's different than everyone else and he doesn't believe in music like everyone else. I like everything: metal, old country, hip hop, funk, and R&B. Malone said, "What I'm not into is boxes. I don't put people in boxes. There are no genres anymore. If a song makes you feel nice, or it makes you feel sad, or if it makes you feel anything, what does it really matter what category it is?" I noted earlier that Post Malone is a bit of a journeyman when it comes to music, and that's very true. He bounced around from genre to genre in order to find his groove, even going so far as to join a heavy metal band for a bit before venturing into rap music. He's seen a lot in his rap career, has shown him that all he wants to do is make the people who listen to his music happy, which is an inspiring thing to do and say. But the fact of the matter is that while most people ignore critics, it's really hard to ignore the critics. They're everywhere, and as shown before, they can even be on your social media feeds. So they're really hard to avoid, and negative comments definitely affect Malone. So it's possible that all of this is stemming from the fact that he is succumbing to the negative reactions to his music, to his looks, to his life, etc. Hopefully this is not the case, but his history has shown us with various celebrities, when they feel cornered or outdated or irrelevant, they go to extreme lengths to either make themselves better or just try to feel better. If Post Malone is cracking, that's really bad, and he needs to stop the flow of bad things from happening. Although since this is Post Malone, there may be a much simpler answer to everything: relationship issues. There are many hallmarks when it comes to Post Malone, and many of them are often very positive and funny, but then there are the issues that continue to plague him in a way that is often kind of depressing: his relationships with women. To be clear, he's never been a bad boyfriend that we know of, but he does have issues letting go of past loves. While many of his songs are light and upbeat, there are just as many that are slow and rather depressing and are about the loves of his life leaving him. At one point, he actually gets killed in a music video because of a love, then gets resurrected just so he can haunt her and her new boyfriend and make her feel guilty for leaving him. So perhaps the real reason for everything going on is that he's having relationship issues with his current girlfriend and wanted to escape from it all. We wouldn't be that surprised. And there you have it, a look at Post Malone and the various things that might be going on with him in terms of his life. Do you think that he's having a serious problem with substances of various kinds? What do you think is the reason he's doing them? Or do you think that he's completely fine? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.